Hello, mathematicians. This is the video for the fraction and decimal checkpoint review. And remember that the review looks just like the quiz. So if you feel great on the review, you'll feel great on the quiz. Number 1, Miranda and Brady baked a coconut cake for their mother's birthday. They decided to cut the cake into tenths. Miranda ate 3/10. Brady ate 2/10. How much did the kids eat together? When you see that word together, I hope you're thinking addition, and it's ridiculously easy to add these two numbers together because the denominators are already the same. 3/10 plus 2/10 equals 5/10. And though we don't have to in 4th grade, it's a good habit to get into to know that 5/10, if you needed to, could be simplified to 1/2, right? If you divided the top by 5 and the bottom by 5, 5/10 is the same as 1/2. Okay? Letter B, Mom ate 2/10 and Dad ate 2/10. How much cake did the parents eat together? So again, we're doing an addition problem. 2/10 for the mom, 2/10 for the dad. Add it together and we get 4/10. You could simplify 4/10 if you cut the top in half and the bottom in half. You could simplify it to 2/5. Okay? Letter C. After Miranda, Brady, Mom, and Dad ate their cake, how much was left? I am going to add the kids' total plus the parents' total. And I'm using those two fractions because they have the same denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is add those numbers together. This is how much cake the kids ate. This is how much cake the parents ate. And if we add it together, that's 9/10. But that's not the answer. That's how much cake they ate. The question is, how much cake was left? Because the denominator is tenths, I'm thinking tenths, 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 tenths. I know that the whole shebang, the whole cake, would be 10/10, right? That would be the whole cake. Though many of you, I'm sure, already know the answer and could do this in their head, here's what I'm thinking. The whole cake is 10/10 minus what they ate, right? The kids plus the parents ate 9/10. And that tells me that 1/10 was left. Okay, and maybe I'll circle it. So that way I know that's my final answer. Okay, so we added up how much cake was eaten, and we know then how much cake was left, right? I took 10/10, which was the whole cake, subtracting what they ate, and that tells me what was left. Number 2, Carrie got 2/6 of a pizza, and Aiden got 1/2 of a pizza. Who got more? Use numbers, labeled sketches, or words to show how you know who got more pizza. Pictures totally work. When all else fails, think of food, draw pictures. When I draw 6ths, I draw a line down the middle and then an X, and half is easy. I know that 2/6 would be 2 out of 6. 1/2 would be 1 out of 2. And I can easily see which one has more shaded stuff, right? Which one has a bigger shaded section. 1/2 is bigger. So that means that Aiden got more. And you might have known that just by looking and saying, well, 2/6 is less than 1/2. Wouldn't it have to be 3/6 to be 1/2? 2/6 is less than 1/2. So you might have known that Aiden had more right away. I want to show one other way that you could also compare. And this is a very mathematical way and like the best way to know for sure, especially if you're a terrible drawer. If the denominators are not the same. So here's another way you could show it. You could say 2/6, right? And then you might take 1/2. And 1/2, let's see, I'm going to change 1/2. And if I multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 3, I know that 1/2 is the same as 3/6, right? Now that I have made them the same, now it's ridiculously easy to compare. Let me write this right up here. 3/6. isn't 3/6 bigger than 2/6, right? So I know that if the denominators are not the same, make them have the same denominator, and then it's also very easy to tell which one's bigger, especially if the fractions are super close together and you can't really tell from your picture, right? Especially if your picture is not perfect. If you make the denominators the same, then you just have to compare the numerators. 3/6 is definitely bigger than 2/6. All right, on to the back. Number 3, the grid below shows 1. So that mat is 1 whole, okay? Write 2 fractions and 2 decimals. So when I look at this grid, I'm seeing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you see 7 strips like I do? If you do, one of the fractions you could write down is 7/10. Now, don't get in an argument with someone if someone said 7/10 is the same as 70/100. That's like someone saying, I see 7 strips, and someone saying, I see 70 units. It's the same thing, right? For decimals, 7/10 would be a 7 in the 10ths place, and 70/100 would be a 70, and it goes up to the 100ths place. 0.7 is exactly the same thing as 0.70. Number 4, fill in the blank with the correct symbol, less than, greater than, or equal to. All right, you could think money. Money is often very helpful when you're comparing decimals. You could think 60 cents versus 6 cents. 60 cents wins every time. Ooh, gosh, 75 cents versus, are you ready for this? Since the first one goes up to the 100ths place, put a 0. So this one goes up to the 100ths place as well. What's bigger, 75 cents or $7.50? $7.50 is bigger. The first one has a 0 in the ones place. The second one has a 7 in the ones place. So that second number is definitely bigger. And the last one, it's always good to make them both go up to the same place value. Since one of them goes up to the 100ths place, I'm going to make the other one go up to the 100ths place by adding a 0. And now it's easy to see that they're exactly the same. Number 5, write the fractions as decimals. 7/10. Some people go like this and put a line for the 10ths place. And I know I need a 7 in the 10ths place. 7/10 is a 7 in the 10ths place. 52/100. Again, some people go 10ths, 100ths, and they go up to the 100ths place, and then they just have to fill in the blanks. 52. 52/100. Letter C, be careful. It'll be the same on the quiz. It's not 4/10, it's 4/100. And if you put those lines there and go up to the 100ths place, you know that you'll have to put a 0 before the 4, so it's 4 in the 100ths place. If you put the 4 first, then it would be 40/100, which is drastically different than 4/100. So 4/100 is a 4 in the 100ths place. And the last one, the opposite. Now write the decimals as fractions. I see a 9 in the 100ths place, so it's 9/100. Letter B, I see a 4 in the 10ths place, so it'd be 4/10. Remember, you also could write 40/100, and since mathematically they're equivalent, I would accept both. But I think 4/10 is probably the best answer. And the last one, 61, and it goes up to the 100ths place, so 61/100. Here are the answers for the first side. And the answers for the second side. All right, kiddos, watch the video as many times as you need to so you're super prepared for the checkpoint.